Oh, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Also, a big thank you to everyone who's been liking and subscribing recently. It really does mean a lot. Yesterday we had some amazing news. I've actually been invited to the YouTube partnership program, which is such a great feeling. You know, without your continued support, that definitely wouldn't be happening and I couldn't achieve that. So thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to making new builds and different fish content in the near future. So today we have got this Ikea bowl. I bought this for about £8 about 4 years ago. I'll leave the description down below and let you guys know what it's called, but it is in Swedish and don't ask me to pronounce anything in Swedish. But I've got a great idea. I'm thinking about a little mini water feature. I'm in my second bedroom here. I'm turning it into a little mini studio if you haven't seen already on Instagram, but I think it's going to look really nice. There's some hardscape coming out, some different rocks and wood, and some mosses and some aquatic plants. So make sure you stick to the end of the video and see what this looks like. I appreciate your support and everything in the description down below, and I'll see you next time. So let's start designing the hardscape. I turned to my collection of materials I have here in the house. It's super helpful to gather hardscape pieces whenever you can. As you guys know, whenever I go to my local aquarium store, I always try and get a new piece of wood or some rocks just for future projects like this. So I chose this particular piece of driftwood because it's natural cracks and crevices. These little nooks are perfect for tucking in plants and adding moss, creating a lush, natural look. But I've got to be mindful because of this piece of wood and making sure it doesn't stand too tall. I've got to make sure that my light, my little desktop lamp that I've got here, will illuminate the whole of the bowl and make sure that everything can grow. So the next step is to keep everything stable. I decided to use some Millennium Stones to anchor the wood, securing them with aquarium safe superglue and paper towel. I absolutely love the texture of these stones and how much it contrasts with the dark wood. Funny enough, I actually used this Millennium Stone about 4 or 5 years ago in my first ever aquascape, so I'm really happy to actually be using it again. It's been a long time coming, but hopefully it's going to look really nice. I'm going to be putting it just a little bit above the waterline. That way I can grow some Monte Carlo, mosses and other little plants that can grow immersed coming out of the dish. So a little tip of mine, when you're actually gluing your hardscape together and you've got the visible glue mark, I actually sprinkle some sand on top. This way it hides the glue marks and you can cover it with sand. Failing that, you can actually use some coffee. This way, when the fumes go off, it actually smells really nice. But yeah, give it a go, guys, and that's just a little tip from me. So I'm going to continue adding more of the Millennium Stone. I really want to make this kind of a 3D effect, you know. I don't want it to be too flat. I want it to look really, really nice when it comes to actually the final product. But you've got to remember, livestock is not going to be going in here. This is far too small to add any livestock, even shrimp, to be honest with you. So I'm not too concerned about filling the whole bottom layer here with stone. But yeah, it's looking really nice so far. To add even more depth to the hardscape, I'm going to be using thin manzanita branches. These are perfect for giving the structure a more intricate, natural look, whilst enhancing the overall shape of the layout. I'm especially focused on adding these around the waterfall section. The delicate twisting branches help frame the flow of water, making it look a lot more organic, like a natural stream running through a forest. For the substrate, I decided to use WIO's Elderly Gravel. This has a really nice mix of grain sizes, some smaller pieces and some larger pieces, which makes everything look a lot more natural in my opinion. I love the subtle yellows and the greys in this gravel as they complement both the Millennium Stone and the driftwood beautifully. I made sure to pour the gravel in as close as possible to the big rocks so it naturally fills the gaps and blends seamlessly into the hardscape. This creates a really smooth transition between the rocks and the substrate. Next, I added some Denerle Ringu gravel. This gravel is much finer and smaller, which creates a nice contrast against the chunkier pebbles. The mixture of textures really helps give the scape a more dynamic and realistic look, making it feel like a natural riverbed. Next up's adding the sand. To create a more of a textured base, I decided to mix two different sands together. I mixed WIO Heaven Sand, which is more of a lighter, finer sand, mixed in with the Cimarron Sand from WIO, which is a bit more of a coarser grain for a natural feel. So with the hardscape complete, it's time to start thinking about how I'm going to add the mini water feature to this little dish. So I went on Amazon, had a look, and had a mini USB pump that was around £10. It fits perfectly at the back, hidden at the back of the glass, and you can't see it from the front. I think this Amazon pump was really good value for money. It came in 3 different sizes with 8mm, 9mm and a 12mm adapter to go on the end of the hose, so it can fit any kind of hose that you really want to put in this. However, the challenge is going to be to try and put the hose up the vertical side of the piece of wood and allow it to drip down, causing that waterfall effect. As I mentioned at the start of the video, how important picking the right hardscape for the right build that you're actually doing, or the right project. Well, this is why it's become really important to pick this piece of wood that I've chose here, because it's got a great opening at the top of the piece of wood with a nice little crevice that I can actually fit the filter hose in down there and actually make it a lot easier to stay in place. Once I secured the hose into place, I wanted to fill up the dish and turn on the pump. That way I'll know if I need to make any adjustments to the pipework, I'll have to do it before I can plant. Stupidly, I forgot to wash the sand before putting it in, so it is a bit murky unfortunately, but I'll change the water a bit later on. But the pump's working well, it's working really good. I've just got to readjust a couple of the bits and actually reposition the hose a little bit, and also put some holes in the hose so it has an equal spray. The reason why I want to put holes in the hose, just little pinpricks using a knife, just so I can get an equal spray, especially when I have that immersed growth going at the top, especially the moss. And it's going to look fantastic. I'm looking forward to planting. So now the hardscape is done, it's time for one of my most favourite parts, planting. After building the structure, adding plants is where everything really comes to life. It's the step that takes an idea and turns it into reality, transforming the scape just from rocks and wood into something living and dynamic. Whether it's an aquarium, terrarium or even a paludarium, plants make all the difference. They soften the hardscape, add movement and help create that perfect natural balance. I've picked out some really nice plants for this setup, so let's get started. Make sure you guys stick to the end of the video and see what this looks like. I promise you it looks absolutely amazing. I love it. Thank you very much guys. Keep supporting, keep subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one.